Hi. So, sorry I haven't been uploading. I know I didn't do my Toriko and Hunter x Hunter reviews. I've just hit sort of an reviewer's block, I guess, uploading block, whatever you want to call it. I'm kind of demotivated at the moment, and with my I have a situation with school that I got to deal with, and it was kind of fortuitous, or fortunately for me, because the chapters really didn't have too much content for me to go over. I mean, the only thing that I could think of with the Hunter x Hunter chapter was that the the titty monster that Togashi drew over King Hoikuro, right? But because that sort of reminded me of like old shonen where they weren't afraid to draw new things. I mean, classic example: Kid Goku naked, Bulma's titties. Even the JoJo's episode with the baby, where you could see his dick, his genitals, and his shit. Kind of reminded very, very old school. So that's really the only thing that I of interest really that I could have talked about with my reviews. But as you can see, I finally brought back the Destroying Dragon Ball Mid/Stigmas not review series, and I want to talk about the concept of death, and I really want to talk about like this claim that death doesn't really mean anything in Dragon Ball because the characters come back. First and foremost, this is bullshit to me. Resurrection does not negate the death of a person or the emotional impact or the connection that you have with the character when he or she dies. It doesn't matter if they come back. Just because they're resurrected doesn't mean that, death doesn't really mean anything because they're going to come back. That I find that to be a very I don't want to say a stupid argument because I think it has some sort of weight, particularly with the final arc in Shaman King. If you guys have read that series, not watched it, read it, because this only happens in the manga. But a lot of characters actually die in Shaman King, but they come back relatively quickly. For me, like if I'm reading a manga or whatever, if a character dies and then they come back within like the next couple of chapters or so, not even within the next couple of chapters. If they come back quickly, then I can understand that the claim that that death didn't mean anything because he came. But in the case of Dragon Ball, I don't think this is true. For instance, if I were to let me pick three series. Okay, I'll say Naruto, Hunter x Hunter, and I'll say Yu Yu Hakusho. For those three series, there are means of resurrection after characters die. Obviously, in Naruto, you have the Ito Tensei. It happens a few times in Hakusho, and then it also happens in Hunter x Hunter. With now that it's animated, I can talk about it. In Hunter x Hunter, you have Kite. With Naruto, was Asuma's death lessened because he was brought back? No. Was Hiruzen's death in all the way in part 1 lessened because he came back? No. In Yu Yu Hakusho, was Yusuke's death bad because he was resurrected? No. Was Genkai's death bad because she was resurrected? No. Was Kite's death bad in Hunter x Hunter when he came back as a little girl? No. So these things don't. I believe the same thing applies to Dragon Ball. Now, I could see people arguing that the main reason why resurrection in those three series, as opposed to Dragon Ball, why that was more believable, was because you knew that the characters. You didn't know if the characters were going to come back. You didn't know how Hiruzen died, but you didn't know that he was going to come back with Ito Tensei. You knew Yusuke died against Sensui, but you didn't know that he was going to come back through the atavism of the Mazaku. Sorry, you knew Kite died, but you didn't know that he was going to come back with the through being eaten via the Chimera Ant arc and being reborn as said Chimera Ant. I believe that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it went, right? Yeah. But with Dragon Ball, you knew that because they had the Dragon Balls that they would eventually come back. And to that I say half and half. not even half and half. 75% false, 25% true. Before let me just talk about some of the situations where death was not guaranteed after a character died in Dragon Ball. So when Krillin died in, I believe that was the first major death. I mean, the first character to come back via resurrection in Dragon Ball is Bora, which is during the Red Ribbon Army arc, where he fights that very iconic and famous fight with Mercenary Tao. But the first, I would say, impactful major death that really happened in Dragon Ball was, of course, Krillin when Tambourine killed him at the beginning of the King Piccolo arc. And the problem, not even the problem. The thing about this is that his resurrection was not guaranteed. Krillin's wasn't, Chaozu's wasn't when King Piccolo killed him, and Roshi's wasn't when King Piccolo killed him. And why was it not guaranteed? Because King Piccolo killed Shenron. There was no way for them to come back to life. So that would be situation number one. Because King Piccolo killed Shenron, there was no means for Krillin, Chaozu, or Roshi to come back. You didn't know how they were going to come back. You didn't know what was going to happen next. You couldn't think of the feasible, there was no means for them to come back at that point. So that's situation number one. The other character that I can really think of that wasn't guaranteed to come back either one of the times he died was Vegeta. Why would anyone think Vegeta is going to be revived after his death on Namek? People say that Vegeta, Frieza killed him, but he was going to come back with the Dragon Balls. How do you know that? What the hell? Why would he come back? If I took Dragon Ball and I read it from chapter 1 or episode 1, and let's say I read or watched it to the chapter or episode where Vegeta died, why would I think Vegeta is going to come back to life? This is the guy who is still a villain. He's looking to kill Goku. He's looking to kill the main cast, conquer the universe, conquer the planet, slaughter others, and still do work in the in the universe. Why would anyone think that he's going to come back to life? The only inkling why anyone would think that Vegeta was going to come back to life would be because of the reason Goku spared him, why he stopped Krillin from killing Vegeta, which was because he wanted a rematch with Vegeta. But Goku isn't the sort of character, at least I would say most likely he is not the character to gather the Dragon Balls and wish Vegeta back to life just for a rematch. Yes, Goku is a selfish character, and yes, that is the reason why Goku spared Vegeta. That is why he stopped Krillin from killing Vegeta, because he wanted a rematch. And again, I'll say this again, it's not mercy like the dub would have you believe. It was out of selfishness. To me, Goku is not the sort of person that would gather the Dragon Balls again and then just wish for Vegeta to come back to life, and then ask for a rematch with him. So, at least very strongly in my opinion, Vegeta was not guaranteed to come back to life after he was killed on Namek. The second time he died also was another reason why I didn't think he was going to come back to life. I worded that wrong. The second time when Vegeta died, when he sacrificed himself against Buu, I didn't think he was going to come back to life either. I don't see why anyone would believe he's going to come back to life. This is the guy who slaughtered millions his entire life. He allowed himself to be taken control of by Babidi and then killed people at the World Martial Arts Tournament, again because of Goku, because of that selfish desire to fight him and prove his superiority. And that's why, that speech with Piccolo when he sacrificed, before he sacrifices himself against Buu, is so good, because Piccolo tells him that he won't be able to keep his body in the afterlife, because Goku, he was basically without sin, and Vegeta had a lot of sin, a lot of bad weight on his soul. So, because of those things, most likely he wouldn't be able to revive if his soul wasn't there, right? So, I don't see how Vegeta's return was guaranteed. I don't see why anyone would know that Vegeta was going to come back to life after he sacrificed himself against Buu. Yes, people knew Goku was going to come back after he died against Raditz, because, well, that was what's stated within the series. That is what Piccolo guessed, that his friends would revive him with the Dragon Balls. After Piccolo died, when he protected Gohan, there was always the off chance that, the Namekians, which Nappa had mentioned, that perhaps they had a set of Dragon Balls that, they could use and wish people back to life. And that's what, Krillin picks up on at the end of the arc when he goes like, Nappa said something about Piccolo being from an alien, so maybe if we go to his home world, there might be other Dragon Balls there, right? So there are some, I don't want to say guaranteed, but there is always a chance that characters can be resurrected in the end. No doubt about it. But to say that a character was guaranteed to come back after he died is just, well, dumb. Did anyone think Goku was going to come back to life after he was killed against Cell? Sure, you can believe that. You could believe that. Well, actually, no. Well, yeah, actually, you could believe that thanks to the Namekian Dragon Balls. But when they were getting ready to wish him back, he said not to do it because he's attracted danger to the planet while being alive. Then in the Boo arc, he goes back to the afterlife after coming back to Earth one day as being dead. And it's only thanks to Old Kai when he gives him his life, he transfers his life force or whatever to Goku, that he's finally able to become mortal again. So this whole thing that resurrection in Dragon Ball is assured is just, well, dumb. And I haven't even gotten to the main part of this video, which is the rules of the Dragon Balls. And before I actually talk about the different rules about the different sets of Dragon Balls, I want to thank Kanzenshu and specifically the podcast number 354 between Mike, Vegito2EX, and Herms, also known as Jake, because these two were the ones that really they were the ones that did that podcast, and they really made it very well known to the watchers, like what the rules of the Dragon Balls were, and I really didn't feel like going through the episodes and the chapters and just like compiling it all in one list. They included stuff from the Daizenshu, the GT Perfect files, which indicates I'm going to talk about the Black Star Dragon Balls, of course, but I just want to give a shout out to them. I'll put the link to their podcast in the description below. It's I think it's like 46 minutes and 28 seconds, so I think it's a worthwhile watch. But yeah, now I want to talk about the rules of the Dragon Balls. So there are basically 5 fundamental sets of Dragon Balls within the series. The first one is obviously Kami's, which is the portion that we'll call them Earth's Dragon Balls for now. Actually, no, we'll call them Kami's Dragon Balls. So we have Kami's Dragon Balls, which is the set of Dragon Balls that is used throughout the entirety of the first portion of Dragon Ball, and then a little bit in Z from the Saiyan arc, the Namek arc, or the Frieza arc, and then I think was it used in the Cell arc besides Dende? I don't remember, but yeah, you have that first set of Dragon Balls. Then you have Gurus, as he's known in the English dub, or the Grand Elders set of Namekian Dragon Balls, which we obviously see when they go to Namek, and that's when we were first introduced to Porunga. The third set is Dende's set of Dragon Balls, which is obviously the one that he makes when he becomes God of Earth, or Guardian of the Earth, as the dub says. And then the fourth set is Muri's. If you guys don't remember who Muri is, he's that one very important elder on Namek, the very dark-skinned green Namekian. Don't meant to be too racist with that, but yeah, he has a set of Dragon Balls that we see in the Majin Buu arc towards the end when they are fighting Kid Buu. So that's 4 sets of Dragon Balls in Dragon Ball, and well, 1 in Dragon Ball, and then that one and 3 others in Z, and then you have a 5th set, which is obviously the Black Star Dragon Balls in GT. So let me just start off with the rules of the Dragon Balls and what we initially got with Kami. Shenron, or Kami's version of the Dragon Balls, Shenron can initially only grant 1 wish. Like I said before, life-giving or resurrection is first done when Goku wishes for Bora to come back to life. And that's obviously done when he fights Mercenary Tao in the Red Ribbon Army arc. The limitation for Shenron, though, is that he can't grant the same wish twice, which we actually learn in the Saiyan arc before they fight Raditz. I would say a lot of most of the North American fans, I think, know this as you can't bring the same person back to life more than once. But within the manga, and I'm pretty sure it's in the subversion too. The scope is broader. It's not only that you can't bring the same person back to life, you can't grant the same you can't grant the same wish twice. Now, how that works is a little it's not very clear. It's like you don't know whether Oolong can wish for another pair of panties, or if someone else can wish for panties. Someone else besides Oolong can wish for panties. So it's never said that, whether the person can wish for the same, can do a wish that they did before, whether they can do that again, or whether someone else can wish for something that a previous user did. So we don't know if, say, someone like Yamcha can wish for panties because Oolong already did, or if Oolong can already wish for another pair of panties. You don't know that. So it's not clarified like that. But the fact that you can't grant the same wish twice initially means that a person can only come back once, at least before Dende comes into the picture with Shenron, with the Earth Dragon Balls. I'm not talking about the Namekian Dragon Balls, I'm talking about the Earth Dragon Balls. So at least from the beginning of Dragon Ball to the end of the Saiyan arc, you have this limitation that no one can come back to life more than once. When it came now, so that's Shenron. That's Kami's version of Shenron. Let's talk about the Namekian balls. The Grand Elders or Gurus. When it came to the Namekian balls, there is speculation over why the Namekians didn't use the Dragon Balls to wish themselves away, or to wish the disaster that was going to ravage planet Namek. Like why they weren't going to rectify that. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Katas, who is Kami's and Piccolo's parent, so to speak, sent Kami and Piccolo, when they were still united as the nameless Namekian, to Earth to escape a very destructive sort of natural phenomenon that was going to ravage planet Namek. If you guys have watched Lord Slug in Japanese, that's actually what happened to Slug also. He was sent away from the planet much in the same way that the nameless Namekian was. And there's going to be this natural phenomenon that ravaged the planet. But they say that the climate was too powerful, indicating that natural phenomenon is stronger than the person who made the Dragon Ball. So, one of the things one of the restrictions when it comes to the Dragon Balls is that if someone surpasses the power of the creator, they can't basically mess with them in any sort of way. You can't kill them. You can't. I don't want to say you can't. I don't know if modify is the right word, but you can't. Generally speaking, you can't mess with them in any sort of way. So natural phenomenon has something to do with and natural phenomenon has something to do with resurrection, because you can't bring all those people back to life. Natural phenomena can kill people and all those sorts of things. But I just wanted to get that point, that if someone is stronger than the person who created the Dragon Balls, that they can't really do anything about it. And actually, one thing that I missed when it came to Kami's version of Shenron. Earth's Dragon Balls have the ability to bring more than one person back to life at the same time if they can be grouped together in some way. So Shenron initially, when Kami makes him, he has the ability to revive a group of people, a large group of people, if they can be grouped together in some way. But Porunga actually does not have the ability to do that. He can't wish populations of people back to life initially. He can't do that initially. And when I say initially, I do mean Grand Elder's version or Guru's version of the Namekian Dragon Balls. When King Kai and Kami are talking with one another to set things right towards the end of the Frieza and the Namek arc, when they're trying to bring back the Namekian population that Frieza for the most part has killed and subjugated, and Vegeta has sort of contributed to that also, we get another limitation. This is on this is on the Earth Dragon Balls. The limitation is that if a group of people have been killed and they have stayed dead for over a year, they can't be brought back to life. We don't know if this applies singularly to we don't know if this applies to singular people. Like, you don't know if this applies to just one person, but the restriction is specifically limited to a group of people. you don't know if that stretches towards, say someone like a Bardock or a Grandpa Gohan. So let's just go over the limitations that we have right now, because I feel like I haven't done. I may have lost my clarity, I guess. Shenron can initially only grant one wish. He can't grant the same wish twice. And if someone's or something's power exceeds the creator of the Dragon Ball's their own power, nothing can be done about it. And Shenron has the ability to bring more than one person back to life at the same time if they can be grouped together in some way. Purunga doesn't have that power. And then the sixth limitation that I just talked about was that if a group of people have been killed and have stayed dead for over a year, they can't be brought back to life. And I guess, a seventh one can be, it may apply to single people, maybe just to one person or that person or whoever. So that's around seven limitations right there. So the Dragon Balls also, this is the eighth one. The Dragon Balls also cannot revive those who died of natural causes. So hence why we never see the Great Elder or Guru again in the series after he dies on Earth. There is a loophole to this, however. If a person's life has been shortened by coming into contact with an evil person, they can be revived, but only for the duration for which their lifetime was shortened. So this doesn't necessarily mean that they were killed by a villain or something like that. It means that if, for instance, Guru... Oh shit, I got to charge my computer. If Guru... The reason Guru was brought back to life and then he died later was because his life was shortened because of Frieza's villainy on Namek. It broke his heart. He died of a broken heart. That's why he died. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he did. Yeah, I'm 99.9% sure that is the explanation for why he died. So when he was brought back to life, thanks to Shenron, when he was brought back to life thanks to Shenron, he was only able to survive for that specific amount of time before passing on his title to Muri, because his lifespan was shortened by the presence of Frieza. So that's the eighth one. And a point that I want to make is that a lot of these wishes that are doing the resurrection, they're basically just shots in the dark. Like, these are wishes that have never been done before. Like, this is essentially the first time that the Dragon Balls are being used in this way. So, like, if I were to give like a dangerous sort of like proposition, I guess I can't really think of the word, but remember Tien, Yamcha, and Chaozu are asked to stay dead for more than a year when King Kai and Kami are making that plan to revive everyone on Namek at the end of the Frieza arc. But there's always that off chance that they may not be able to be revived, because like I said, staying dead for over a year thing it's definitely applicable to groups of people, but we don't know if it is that applicable to single persons. We don't know we don't know how that works. So that was a risk. That's that I don't know how to word this, but resurrection is not guaranteed in that case. Purunga's limitation initially is that he can only revive one person at a time. So like I said, Shenron has the ability to revive a group of people. Purunga doesn't. But Purunga, unlike Shenron, can revive a person more than once. So again, Shenron can revive a group of people. Purunga can't. They both can revive a person, but Shenron can only revive said person once. Purunga can revive said person more than once. So there are always like these limitations when it came to like how revival in Dragon Ball was handled. Another limitation to the balls is that they can't revive someone if the place where they were destroyed doesn't exist anymore. So the example that I would probably be talking about is Goku and Namek. If you remember when Bulma was talking to Shenron, or when she summoned Shenron at Capsule Corp, and when she was trying to bring back Krillin, Yamcha, Chaozu, and Tien and Goku. They were asked, she was getting ready to make the wish for Shenron to revive Goku, but then the stipulation is that if he can't be revived there because the place where he was killed doesn't exist anymore. So to revive Goku, they would have to take his spirit and bring it to Earth and then revive him. So that's another limitation to how resurrection works. If the place where you were killed at, if that place doesn't exist anymore, you need to physically take the spirit of that person who was killed and bring it somewhere, to presumably to wherever you are wishing. So that would probably be the ninth limitation, I guess. Yeah, ninth or 10th. I've lost count. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's 10th, right? Yeah, it's 10th. So that's basically the stipulations surrounding Kami's Shenron and Guru's Porunga. Now we're going to talk about Dende's version of Shenron. He sort of upgrades Kami's Dragon Balls. And the stipulation is that, so 11th, if one of the wishes is to revive a lot of people all at once, they can't use the second wish to wish for something similar. So say say I use my first wish and I say I want to revive all the people that let's say I want to revive all the people that Vegeta killed at the World Tournament, right? They do that. Or no. Well, I guess we can use that example. You can't make the second wish can't be of a similar. It can't be similar to that wish. You can't. Basically, you can't wish again for another group to be revived. You can only revive one group at a time. So basically, if one of the wishes is to revive a lot of people all at once, then they can't use the second wish to wish for something similar. Another stipulation. So what we're like on 12th to 13th now. Wishes can't mess with people's bodies stronger than their creators. Hence why Goku was able to reject the wish of coming back to Earth from Yardrat. Remember, this is what I was talking about just a couple seconds ago, or a couple minutes ago. The reason why Goku wasn't able to why Goku didn't come back to Earth was, one, because he wasn't dead, because he was on Yardrat, but two, he didn't want to. Now, that can actually be, you can explain that because, once again, if someone is stronger than the creator of the Dragon Balls, they won't be able to come back. Or they won't correct that. If someone is stronger than the creator of the Dragon Balls and their dragon, they can basically because they are more powerful, the wish affects them differently. Goku as a Super Saiyan was much more powerful than Grand Elder or Guru, right? So, that's why he was able to say that he didn't want to come back, and that's why he was still on Yardra, and that he would say he would come back within a year, right? Another example of this is why Shenron wasn't able to change Android 18 fully back to human at the end of the Androids or the Cell arc. Because 18 was much more powerful than, Dende. But instead of fully changing her back to a human, Shenron was able to remove the self-destruct device she had, the one that Jiro placed inside her. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to explain when it comes to that. No, I don't think so. So, yeah, so there's always that stipulation that if a person is stronger than the Dragon Ball's creator, generally you can't mess with them, but obviously the case over here is that in the case of Android 18, you can remove, you can make make specific wishes in the sense that you can remove the self-destruct device from them. So that would be Dende's Dragon Balls, and now we'll talk about Muri's Dragon Balls, which is basically the fourth set. Actually, I don't think I need to talk about the Black Star Dragon Balls, because they don't really do much revival in the series, I want to say. They don't have any real special rules to them aside from the planet blowing up within a year and all that, but that has really nothing to do with the topic of resurrection. So I'll just stick to Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z sets. But the final set is obviously Muri's Dragon Balls. Now Purunga can revive big groups of people. Now at this point he can restore the stamina of a person, but he can't make or supercharge a person or overwhelm them with more ki. Like, he can't give them more ki because that would essentially make them more powerful than Muri himself, right? So that would I want to say I put like 14 or 15 different sort of rules when it comes to resurrection in Dragon Ball. And obviously the rules change over time, but yeah, they change over time and new ones are added. But the reason I because this is a topic that's just, I've just found it to be all kind of BS lately, that death means nothing in Dragon Ball when, you have all these rules surrounding Shenron and Purunga, and all the times that they're each only modified once, so to speak, but you have like all these different rules on how to revive, who you can revive, like where you can revive. So I just wanted to bring clarification to the fact that revival generally isn't all the time guaranteed, as in the case of Vegeta dying on Namek, Krillin, Chaozu, and Roshi dying at the hands of King Piccolo, Vegeta dying against Majin Buu also. And so, those three situations, I don't see anyone. I don't understand why anyone would think that they were going to come back to life unless you had prior knowledge of what's going to happen later in the series. But that's the only reason that I would think. That's the only reason why I would think why you would think that they were going to come back to life. And then you have all these rules surrounding the Dragon Balls that restrict the resurrection of some of the characters. Shenron initially can't revive a person more than once. Purunga can only revive one person at a time and not general populations. So there are always like these rules that really restrict the resurrection abilities of both dragons. So I think that's all I want to talk about. I've been going on for 32 minutes, but yeah, this is my first video in a while. So tell me what you guys think. Tell me if you guys agree with me. Tell me if I didn't make too much sense. I think I was like stuttering a lot in this video. And yeah, that's all I really got to say. Just wanted to say I just really wanted to get this out because it's been a while since I've done the series, and I thought this was a good topic to talk about, and I hope to change the community's perception that, well, death doesn't mean anything in Dragon Ball. So I hope this video has done that, and yeah, peace and have a nice day. Oh, and I'll probably record one more video after this. It might be another one in this series, so we'll see. But thank you guys for watching. Peace and have a good night.